Hello everyone and welcome to a new video in our IFS Cloud video series. My name is Marcel Aușan. I'm an IFS consultant and today I want to start off a new video series related more on the technical aspects of IFS Cloud. For those of you that are purely IFS functional consultants, or even those of you that's just started learning the functionality of IFS Cloud following my videos, don't worry, we will not, in this technical series, I will not go into very complex topics. I just want to show you how easy it is to combine the functional side with the technical side, and what sort of knowledge you need in order to start also working on the technical side. And today, for the first video, we will start with an easy concept, I would say, and this would be the page designer in IFS Cloud. We will see how we can configure the client pages, so basically the pages where users will do transactions. We will see how we can remove fields, make them visible, how we could make them mandatory or make them read only, for example. We could also see how we could add new command buttons fairly easily. So basically we will go over all of these topics as a starters. And then in the next videos, we will go more and more into more detailed topics. But this, I think the first thing to start with would be the page designer, and to see what's possible with this no code way of handling page configurations in IFS Cloud. So without further ado, let me directly jump into the system, and probably one page with which we are already familiar, at least from the previous videos that I have created around IFS Cloud functionality, is the customer order page. So we will be playing a little bit around with this page and see what we can do with page designer. Maybe just a disclaimer before we get started with the real hands-on work. This video tutorial does not pretend to be exhaustive into what could be done with page designer, but today I will show you some of my, let's say, most favorite things, or most asked for things from the customer's perspective. Things that are quite beneficial to know if you will work on an IFS Cloud implementation project. So first of all, how do we go to page designer? Basically in each page we will have a section where we can open page designer, and we can do that from the top right where our user is. If we press top right, we go and open page designer. It will take a few seconds so that the page designer will load, and it will load here on the left side of the panel. And now we have our page designer loaded. And now, before going and doing some things, I need to explain how the data is structured here. So all the way to the top, we see we have a context. And here, what's possible is that you can create multiple contexts. So you can have the same page behave differently in different contexts. And later on, this context could be assigned to different user groups, for example. So maybe you have some users in the sales department that they need to see all the details of the customer order, including prices and all the amounts and everything. And maybe you have another set of users which might need access to the customer order, but just to see what are the sales parts for which there is demand in the system and what are the quantities. And therefore you could create two different contexts and create two page configurations for the customer order page in the different context. In one of them you leave all the fields, like the global context. In the other context, you could just hide the fields that you don't want the non-sales people to see. So it's quite powerful, this context feature, but of course, the more context you have, the more administration work you need to do with each release upgrade. So whenever you want to apply the newest version of IFS, then all of these page configurations most likely would need to be refactored a little bit, because each new release will bring in additional functionality to most of the pages probably in IFS Cloud. And therefore you need to refactor your own page configurations, yeah, and merge them with what's new in the new release. Yeah. So just something to pay attention on. Yeah. Then here on the left hand side we have a few buttons. Yeah, we have the preview button. We see now this one is enabled. Whenever we do some changes to the page designer, we will immediately see the changes in the record that we have open on the right. Yeah. And then we have some more fields here which will be relevant whenever we do some changes. Yeah, we can publish them. There will be a save button as soon as we do a change, and that's very useful. Yeah. Then we come down and we see the active page that we are in is the main form of the customer order. Yeah, but probably, as you already know, there are a lot of different assistants, yeah, that open up. Yeah, for example, from the customer order page, yeah, we can open up the create advanced invoice assistant. Basically, as you could remember from a previous video where I covered advanced payment invoices, you see this is an assistant page. Yeah, so if we want to do any changes to this assistant page, of course we would need to select it from the drop down. Yeah, but by default, whenever you open page designer, it will be the main form, yeah, where you open it from. But if you click on the drop down here, you will see all the different assistants and all the different dialogues. No? So a lot of different dialogues and a lot of assistants. Good. And then obviously we have the entity. These are some technical details, and we already have also the label of the page. Yeah? The label of the page is what we see here at the top. So if for your business you want, instead of customer order, yeah, you want to say sales order, it's just as simple as typing the new name in a label box. Yeah? And now your whole page is called sales order. Yeah, and once you did a change, you will notice immediately the change is highlighted with yellow. Yeah, this means there is a change that is not saved. And immediately you also see the save button on the top. Yeah, as soon as you save the change, you will see that it changed the color to a green dotted line. Yeah, this means the change that you did is saved in this context, but is not yet published. Yeah? Not yet published means is not yet available for other users that have this context. By default, all the users, if you don't do any other setup in this area, will get the global context. Yeah? And as soon as we have something that's saved but not published, yeah, we can also publish it, yeah, with this arrow into the cloud. Once we publish, now all this, the change that we did, will be visible to other users that come to this page. Yeah? And also the color coding becomes a strong green line. Yeah? So this makes it quite easy to see immediately at a glance what are all the changes that you did, yeah, that deviate from the standard global context. And you could immediately see them. And of course, if we want to just revert, we would just say revert configuration button, and then it comes back to customer order. Again, we need to save and publish. And as soon as we reverted and published the change, you see there's no color coding here, because now we are back to how the page looked initially. No? Good. Then we have a few things we need to cover. Yeah, so we can control the buttons here, the command buttons. We can even create new buttons, and we will do that in just a few seconds. Yeah, but just to explore a little bit before we start doing something, just to explore what are the different options here. Yeah, so we have the command group section, which basically is all the different command groups that we have in the customer order header. Yeah, as you know, we also have command groups at the, or command buttons at the line level. Yeah? But in order to get to those in the line level, we will need to find where the lines are. Yeah, so for that we will need to go to the content. Yeah, and in the content we see a bunch of information here. We know the lines is the first tab, so we can open the tabs. Yeah, it's a bit of navigation that we need to do, and then we immediately see the lines. Yeah, so if we just open the lines and again click on the content, yeah, and now if we whenever we get to a hyperlink, if we click on it, it will open the list below, and now we have the command groups of the line. Yeah, so if I expand here, we should see all the different command groups from the line. Yeah, status, line details, operations, reservation, shipment lines, and so on. Yeah. But let me go on the top again. So basically what's very important is whenever you identify that you need to do a change in a page, let's say if you want to hide a field, let's take for example that we want to hide the additional discount field. Yeah. For some reason, some customer is not using discounts and they don't want to see a lot of fields. Yeah, because in the standard IFS you will see a lot of fields, but maybe sometimes customer will never use such a functionality, so they want to make their IFS cloud pages more slick. Yeah, so not have a lot of information, but only the ones that they need. Yeah, so therefore we will need to be able to find this order details tab. And how do we do that? Well, you've got it already, so we go to the content, and in the content we know it's in one of the tabs. We expand the tabs, and then we go to order details. Yeah, we expand order details, and here we see content. Yeah? In the content, if we expand it, we see a few arrange. Yeah, this is like a more of a grouping things. Yeah, and we know our section is the very first one. Yeah, because if we scroll down here, we see freight and document information, and this would be somewhere below. Yeah, freight, document information, but we know our information is in the first section here. Yeah, and it's even a section that has no title. Yeah, like this one has delivery address, but our section here has no label. So if we just go with the first arrange, we will see now it has two more arrange groupings. Yeah, so basically all the sections are grouped by the left and then the right. So we know in the left, probably we need to go with the first one, and then we see we have a few sections. So we have customer order general group, delivery settings, delivery confirmation. So we have delivery settings and delivery confirmation here. So probably this section, which is unnamed, is the customer order general group. Now, if we click on the hyperlink, we are taken to the list, the group. Yeah, we just expand and we start seeing the content, the fields. Yeah, so we have coordinator, we have currency, customer PO number. So now we identified, we come to the right place in the page designer. So if our wish was to hide the additional discount field, we would just expand the additional discount, and we will see each field will have a lot of different attributes. Yeah? But what we want to do in order to just hide the field, there is this field visible. We check it, and now if we uncheck it, yeah, now the field is gone. Yeah, and we could save our change and also publish. Yeah. But now since we saw that for each field we have a lot of different attributes here, yeah, what we want to have a look, yeah, what's possible. Yeah, so basically here one of the things that I've noticed it's quite useful. Sometimes you want to change the control size. Yeah, so sometimes you have like multi-line fields where you want to add a lot of comments, and then you want to be maybe a full width field, so that means it will take up all the space on the screen in the section. Yeah, in this case it's just a normal field, it's just a small field because it's just a percentage and just a number from 0 to 99. or 200. Yeah, but we could have it normal or double or full width. Yeah, I've noticed with some of the comment fields or notes field, yeah, most of the customers would want it full width. And also something that's interesting would be to make it multi-line. Yeah, so we have here the multi-line attribute. Yeah, and in this case, the text will overflow on the second line, third line, and fourth line, depending on how much content you put inside. Yeah, without the need to open the field. Yeah. Then also something that's quite interesting is that we can have some conditions. Yeah, when this field should be editable. Yeah, and if I just expand this, yeah, we can see that this additional discount field is editable only when the status of the record, which in our case is the customer order, is not cancelled and is not closed, I think. Yes. So as long as it's not cancelled and closed, we can edit the field. Yeah? Of course, depending to your own business needs, yeah, maybe you want to restrict editing this field also when the order is released. Yeah, you can totally do that. You just change the condition here in the editable. No? Good. Then yeah, we can obviously change the label of the field. So if we want, instead of reading additional discount, if you want something else, we can simply change it. Yeah, as I did with changing the label for the page, is as easy as that. Yeah, we can say what's the maximum length of the field. What else? Yeah, we can make it visible or not visible, and we could also make it yeah, if we want to make it read only, we will just say that it's not editable. And in this case it's editable in case some conditions are met, but we could also say it's not editable and then it will be just read only. Yeah. One interesting option is also this default to previous value. Yeah, so whenever you think that for some field users will 99% of the cases use the same value, yeah, you can save them a few clicks, that instead of leaving the field blank whenever you create a customer order, you say default to previous, so then the field will take the previous value that the user used in another customer order, for example. Yeah, you save them a few clicks with that. Good. Then I will just collapse this again. And maybe let's just have another example. Let's see how we can make a field mandatory. Yeah, maybe just let me just make it visible again, and let's make the field mandatory. No. We publish the changes, and now you see here we have an additional discount. Okay, by default it's 0. Let's see if we can leave it null and save. No, it always puts a 0. Then maybe this is not a good example. Let me just take the customer's PO number. Yeah, so for the customer's PO number, let's imagine we want to make this field as mandatory. Yeah, we open all the different attributes, and here we could also see it already has a max length of 50, but we could also make it required. Yeah? Making it required will mean whenever we create a new order, now this one is already created, so it will not complain at this time that this field is required, but whenever we want to edit this existing customer order, since it's planned status, we could still edit it. Yeah, if we want to go to edit mode, you immediately see customer's PO number now becomes pink, and obviously this means it's mandatory. If we just try to save, let me change here, maybe I put an additional discount 10 so that I have the save button and I try to save, you see that we got a toast error message that field customer PO number is required and needs a value. Yeah, so we could put a value inside, and after that we could save it. Yeah. So as you know already in IFS Cloud, there are some fields which are required by the business functionality, by the standard functionality of IFS, but in addition, you can also create your own fields, yeah, which are mandatory according to your own business processes. Yeah. This is another interesting thing that we could do. Then something else, let me see if we have here the notes field. Yes, we do. Let me just expand a bit. So we have the notes field here, and if I try to edit, you see the notes field is now probably like a normal field. Yeah? This market and classification probably would be the small fields. This would be normal. But if we just try to find the nodes and just make it full width, yeah, so in the nodes we already see we have some changes because this one was multi-line, but I disabled the multi-line. Let me just add some text here just to see what I mean. Yeah, so we have a lot of text and we want to save it. Yeah, we do save it. Yeah, and you see how the field looks like. Yeah, so it's a normal field, and when we hover over it, we see the full text. Yeah, but what if you don't want users to hover over a field to see what's inside? Of course, this one we could also open it like that, and we could see the nodes. But what if we want to see at a glance everything in this section? Yeah? So first of all, we will need to go and change the control size from normal to full width. Yeah, so what this will do, let me just hide this selector section. What this will do, you see, it will take out all the space to the right and also show it in two lines. Okay, and then I will save and publish. Yeah, and now you see the full text is shown and the users don't have to hover over it or do anything. This is very important with more notes or comment fields, wherever you will have more than one line of comment. And this is something that I found very handy. Then another interesting thing that you could do here, let's go to the lines, for example, yeah, and in the lines, one common thing is that you just try to create a new sales order line, customer order line, and whenever you want to type the part number, yeah, most of the customers that I worked with for part numbers, they have meaningless numbers, yeah, just sequential number 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, which do not tell a story. Yeah? So you can't really know all the par numbers by heart. Of course, if you work with a few par numbers, probably you could. But if you work with thousands of par numbers, that would be impossible. Yeah? And therefore, instead of just copy pasting from a different screen where you could search for your part number, yeah, in inventory part, for example, one interesting thing that we could do, we could enable this field to also search by description. Yeah, you already know if I start typing in the field, like cube, you will see it will start searching for whatever I entered in the field, but only in the part number. Yeah, but what if our number is just, part number is just really a number, and our description is the one that we would want to search for. Yeah, and in this case, I will show you how to do this. Yeah, so basically we need to go to the lines and find the sales part number field. How do we do that? We go all the way to the top, and here we are at the tabs. Yeah, and here we want to go not to the order details tab, but to the lines tab. And here we already see we have the list. We just jump to it directly. And here we go to content. And in the content, what we could do is go to the sales part number. Let me just cancel new for a second. Go to the sales part number. And here we have the LOV switch. If we open LOV switch, now here we have two list of possible list of values. Yeah, I won't go into a lot of details, but you could use assortments. In this case, we don't use assortments, or you can use all the different sales parts which are active in the system. Yeah? And this is what we are doing. And we're using all the active sales parts, list of values. So we go to these three dots, and basically what we could do is in our search, we just press on the plus sign, and we want to search by catalog number. Yeah, this is our part number. This is anyways standard behavior. This is what the system is doing now. But besides catalog number, we also want to search by description, catalog description, and save. And now if we just save it and publish, and then once we try to create a new line, we will see the new behavior. If I start typing cube, you see now it's highlighting with yellow also the description. Yeah, this means if my part number would be just a number, if I type in cube, I would still be able to find the same sales part, yeah, which is quite handy. And remember, this is something you can do with most of the fields whenever you have like an ID and then a description. Yeah? For example, you could do it with the customer. Also, this customer field is a customer ID and then the name. And if it's not filtering implicitly by the name, you could just find the field and add a new criteria in the search. Yeah? This is another nice thing that we could do. Okay, then let's go back for a second. So cancel new, and maybe let's see how we can make one of the fields read-only. Yeah, so for example, we could make this priority field read-only. At the moment, if we try to edit, yes, we have rights to edit it. Yeah, but if for some reason we want to stop users editing this field, then what we would do is we would go all the way to the top, tabs. Again, we need to find this specific section. So if I open the order details, content, and we already know it's in the first arrange, it already stays open. So I go to the content, and here, for example, priority, if I just want to say that it's not editable, at the moment it is editable, yeah, in all circumstances, I will just say not editable and save and publish. I could see that my priority field is no longer editable. Yeah, if there would have been a value here, I could still see it, but I could not change the value. Yeah? So this is also how you can make a field read-only. You've seen it's just a few clicks, you publish, and that's the end of it, which is quite neat. Okay, then something else that would be interesting to know, yeah, if we discuss about the content, yeah, so the content of a page, yeah. So whenever we see this hand that tries to pick something, yeah, this is the selector. Yeah, the selector is always on the here on the left side. So this is our selector, yeah, because here, depending on what we are searching, in this case I'm just searching for this order ending with 27, we could have more than just one order number. No, let's see everything that's planned blocked for this site, or other 7 statuses, and we see we have a lot. Yeah? And our selector will allow us, let me just say planned, will allow us to jump from one record to the other. Okay, planned and released, so that we still get a few. Yeah, so we could jump from one record to the other. Yeah, so this is our record selector. No? And for example, if you want to fit more records here, of course, we would need to get rid of some of the data points, and that's also possible, yeah, because here we have the order number, we have the customer, the site, wanted delivery date, and the status. But if we go inside the selector, we could see we also have a content. And for example, if you want to get rid of the wanted delivery date time, we just delete it. Yeah? Don't worry if we want to bring it back. Again, we just roll back, undo our changes, and then it will be back. Yeah, so even if we delete it, we would still see what was the change that we did. Yeah, so it's highlighted with green, and we see just what we did was delete it. If we just undo changes, then we put it back. And now you've noticed here that we have no longer the wanted delivery date. But for example, maybe you want to add the customer name. Yeah, maybe the customer ID doesn't tell you much, and we could add in the content. If we hover over it, we also have the plus to add an element, and we can pick a value. And here we can just start typing name, and then we have customer name. Yeah, here we will have all the different columns from the customer order table. Yeah, and customer name, we show it like that. Of course, it would be at the bottom. Yeah, but we could also drag and drop it. Yeah, if we hover over it at the on the left side, we could just drag it and drop it below the customer, and we could see now should be order number, customer ID, customer name, the site, and status. Yeah, we could save it, and then we have configured our own selector. If we want to see all the different orders now, they will always have the same selector, but just different data. Yeah, so different customer order, or maybe different customer or site or status, and so on. Yeah? So that's quite neat that you could bring information here in the selector, so that you don't need to go through the different customer order details form if you just want to find something quickly. Good. Then some more things that we could do and I want to show today would be in the command groups. Yeah, so in the command groups, of course, if we expand, now we are at the header. Yeah, as I said, we also have the line command buttons or command groups, but for those we will need to go to the tabs, to the lines, and there we will find the command groups. But for example, let's just say, and you've seen, if you've watched the videos I'm doing here, you've seen that sometimes, yeah, whenever we have a customer order, in order to go quickly through the process, we go in a page that's called quick order flow. And how do we do that? Usually I was copying the order number and I was typing in the navigator quick order flow, and then I was pasting the customer order number in the let me just do that really quickly in the field. Yeah, so basically what I used to do, and now I would show you a way to make it faster. Yeah, I would take my customer order number and I would go to another page and I would say quick order flow handling. I would open it and I would search by my order number. Now, one nice thing that we could do, we could create a new command for this, yeah, to navigate to this new page. So we will not touch any of the existing commands, although if for some reason you are not using some commands, you could immediately hide them, yeah, or delete them altogether. Of course, you can undo at any time, but just to remove the clutter, yeah. So maybe sometimes you are not using freight at all, so you could just hide the entire freight command group, and then it's gone. Because you notice here you have a limited real estate on the screen, so the more buttons you have, the more you need to go to the three dots and then see what are the command buttons that don't appear on your screen because you don't have enough space. Yes, so now let's go ahead and try to create a new command group. Yeah, we will just create a new one. And here you can see we can create a command group. This is what we would want. But then inside the command group, we can create a command to execute an action, to execute an operational report. Yeah, this is like printing all the confirmation for this, what's relevant for this. But of course, here we have the share button for order confirmations. So it's not very useful. But we could execute a quick report, we could execute a workflow or a navigation link or even external navigation link like going into the internet, for example. No? What we will do a navigation link, but for that we need to do first a command group, quick order flow, we call it. Here at the bottom, let's move it at the top, even before the status, so we could see it. We don't have to go to the three dots. Yeah, so now if we just expand and inside the content, we can create a navigation link. Yeah? So navigation label, quick order flow, page to navigate. Now this is very important. Yeah, here we will have a list of all the pages that are available in IFS Cloud. Of course, since we are doing a navigation link from the customer order, we need to have a way to link the two pages, the customer order and the quick order flow. And in this case, we know the common link between them is the order number, because this is the piece of data that I was copying from one screen to the other in order to find the right record. Yeah, so if I try to search for quick order flow, you see that the list is narrowing down to my quick order flow handling list. I will just select it, and obviously I will need some navigation parameters. Yeah, I don't just want an empty links that will just take me to this quick order flow handling page, but instead I want to go to the quick order flow handling page and immediately filter for my customer order where I executed the navigation from. Yeah, so to save me a bit of search time. So in that case, I obviously need navigation parameters. I will just click the edit button. So destination attribute, here I have destination is the quick order flow page. Here I have all the different fields from the customer order, and I will just type in here order number. I think, yes, order number is the field, and our context value. Yeah, so from this customer order page will also be order number. So this is a common column between the two screens. And I will say okay. In case I want to go into the quick order flow but in a different context, I can also write it here. I don't want to. I just want to go to the quick order flow list and already navigate to the same order number from where I come from. Yeah. Just like that, I just save. Yeah. And now you see here I have my quick order flow. Let me just publish. I have my quick order flow command, and if I click on it, you will see inside the same window I'm taken to the quick order flow handling, and it's immediately searching for my order number, yeah, which is quite neat. And now from here I could do the release, reserve, and delivery confirmation and everything, yeah, which is quite neat. So now I no longer need to copy my order number, go to the quick order flow page and type in the order number in that page, but I can just quickly jump, navigate easily from my customer order page. No? Good. So again, without going through everything that's possible, yeah, in this video I try to show you what are some of the most asked for things by different customers and that you could easily achieve with Page Designer. Yeah. Of course, as I said, there are many more features which are available, um, but some of those probably we will cover in more depth in future videos. Yeah. But for now, this was all. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, stay safe and talk to you soon. Bye.